My mom was a school teacher right here in Langley, and later served over at the NASA Research Center. Anyone seen the movie Hidden Figures? Yeah. My mother was one of the characters portrayed in that film, right? Can I get a round of applause for my mom? Absolutely. All right, so upon graduating high school, I attended Hampton University. Shout out to the real HU. Any Howard grads in here? The real HU, right? So college was interrupted. I was drafted into the Army, served in the Korean War. But unfortunately, I got wounded, which later earned me a Purple Heart, my act of heroism, right? After completing my service commitment in the Army, I returned to college. Ended up going to now Temple University in Philadelphia. Is when I got my master's degree in physics, which after college, I started working for Bell Laboratories, and I began to work in my most prized possession. All right, the electric microphone. What does it do for you? Who here has a cell phone? Everybody has one? You ever put it on speaker? You're welcome, right? my device is located in every small media device, right? So throughout that, I was inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame in 1999. I've earned many more accommodations, but my biggest thing that I've returned back to Bell Laboratories, I established the ABLE Foundation, right? And now that allowed me to pay it forward to our other innovators because it allowed them to have their ideas and other inventors promoted, right? So I'll turn it over to my next group.
Hey everyone. Good. That is good. So I know everybody in here has used GPS before, Global Positioning System. And I just want to say you're welcome. So my name is Dr. Gladys West. I was born here in Virginia back in 1930. I look great, y'all, right? Exactly. So I was valedictorian of my high school. That won me a full scholarship to Virginia State University. So there, I majored in mathematics. And then after that, started teaching. And then I moved to, went back to school, got my master's in mathematics. And then finally got a government job out at the Naval Proving Ground, which is now called the Naval Surface Warfare Center. So there I was only one of 4 black people working there at the time. One of the individuals was my husband. I married him, right? So while there I was a computer programmer, as well as a project manager for a data processing center that analyzed satellite data. I was also part of a study that proved the regularity of Pluto's motion relative to Neptune. I also worked on an IBM 7030. So that involved complex algorithms to account for variations in gravitational, tidal, and other forces that distort Earth's shape. All of that data worked into the basis of global positioning systems, so GPS. So again, you guys are welcome. Wait now. I was inducted into the Air Force's Hall of Fame back in 2018. It is nice to meet all of y'all.
All right, thanks everyone for coming out. Now, I'm a man that enjoys games myself, but my legacy is nothing to play with. I'm the guy you can blame every time you get home from work. Your kids are tugging on your blouse saying, "Can I play some games on your phone?" It's also because of me. For those of you who had a significant other, you couldn't get 1 second with them on Valentine's Day because they were busy playing to do 2K or Call of Duty. My name is Jerry Lawson, and I'm responsible for the development of the removable game cartridge. So I had humble beginnings. I was born in Brooklyn, New York, and when I was a kid, my parents encouraged me to believe that I could do anything I wanted to. When I was 13 years old, I achieved an amateur radio license, and I built my own station using parts from the local electronics store. And years later, I joined a company called Fairchild Semiconductor in San Francisco, where I rubbed shoulders with gentlemen like you may be familiar with called Steve Jobs, shout out to Apple. And while I was there, I developed the Channel F console with a removable game cartridge. So the significance of this is, back in the day, way before most of y'all were even born in the room, When you bought a game system, there was only one game attached to it. If you wanted Pong, you bought a Pong system, only one game. If you wanted to play Galaga, you had to buy the system, only had one game. But with me, you had your station, and then you had as many cartridges with as many different games as you wanted to, so you could plug one cartridge in, play one game, plug another cartridge in for another. So over the decades, my innovation grew into the modern day video game industry that brings in over $100 billion annually. And now, you cannot get your children to go to bed on time to save their lives. I help bring millions of children's imaginations to the screen. And now, I think I'll hand it over to another New York native from Queens, a woman who deserves her crown. Please give your undivided attention, Ms. Brown.
Hello, everyone. Hello. I am Marie Von Brittan Brown. Now, you may not know me, but I can guarantee you know my work. I saw a young lady in the back checking on her son from her phone, and I thought, that's cool. I know I had a hand in that because I invented the home security system. Now, back in the 1960s, my husband Albert, Sweet Al is what I like, we were living in Queens, New York. In the 1960s, I was a hard-working full-time nurse, and he was an even harder working electrician. A lot of times, we were not home at the same time. We worked so many long hours. So with that, again, being in Queens, New York, the crime was on the rise, and police response was extremely slow, if at all. So, to ease my mind, I decided to come up with something to make me feel safe at home. What did I do? Placed a tiny camera inside of a peephole, connected it to a television inside of my home. I was able to see everything that was happening outside from inside of my house. Easy. I also had a remote that allowed me to unlock and lock the door from anywhere from inside of my home. Extra safe, right? Well, in 1966, me and Sweet Al decided to patent our system. It didn't get approved until 1969, but we continued to work at it, and it grew. After it got patented, I added to it by creating a panic button. You were able to push a button, and it would send a direct signal to the police station, so they would know, hey, somebody's breaking in my house. Something's going wrong. Easy. So after all of that, you would think it would have been so easy to gain the recognition that I so well deserve. Not even, because while I was the inventor and I was the mind behind it, I did have other people to help. But because they were on there with me, they got all the limelight. And I was in the background because I was the black woman. All the men came first. So eventually, though, I got all my just due, and I was finally awarded from the National Science Committee, which made me the most elite and the most prestigious black woman in the United States. And I am Miss Marie Van Brittan Brown, but you can call me Miss CCTV.
Good afternoon, good afternoon. Now, for those of you, I've seen many people on their cell phones today, and hopefully no one who is a bill collector, telemarketer, that friend who only contacts you when they need to borrow money, you can thank me for that. I am Dr. Shirley Jackson. As a child, I loved math and science, so much so that I studied the circadian rhythms of bees from the flowers and the shrubs near my home in Washington, D.C. I loved school. My parents emphasized education. When I was in high school, my physics teacher said, "Oh, you think that you know more than me, then come on up and teach the class." And so I did. I graduated also as valedictorian of my class, and then I furthered my education at MIT. I thought it would be fun. I thought there would be people there who looked like me, but not so much. When I was at MIT, in the study groups, the other young girls did not want me. as part of their study group. When I sat down to eat lunch, people hurried up and finished eating, or they didn't even get their dessert. But nevertheless, I persisted and continued with my education there. I also thought it was important because there wasn't a lot of people who looked like me. So I organized other Black students, and together we came up with proposals that we sent to the administration to get more Black student support, more Black faculty, and things of that nature. So while I was in Boston, again, as I said, it was not always a good experience for me. I was spit on, I was chased, I was shot at, but I continued my graduate education there. I was determined to not let them get the satisfaction of seeing me walk away. And so I stayed at MIT, and I was the first Black woman to get a PhD from MIT in any field. Physics, theoretical physics is just fascinating to me. It's fascinating. So after that, I continued and I did some research at IBM and Bell Laboratories, and again, that led to the technology that you know today, fiber optics, the fax machine that we all use at work, and that caller ID, right? Call waiting. Remember when we didn't have that? Touch tone phones, all of those things. Some of you don't even remember dial tone phones, so I made that better for all of us. I went on to teach, went on to higher education. I taught at my beloved Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute for many, many years. I also was appointed by former President Bill Clinton as the first woman and first African-American female of the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. Many years later, I was appointed by President Obama to be the co-chair of his Intelligence Advisory Board. I've won many accolades and awards and have had many accomplishments in my life. And I don't want to bore you with that. I know we need to get on with this beautiful program and this lovely lunch that has been prepared for us. But I just want to leave this with you. First of all, thank you to all of these other people who have paved the way for us. Don't be discouraged when there's just a few of you, because we need innovators like you. We need more people who are courageous and will step up and do great things. And so thank you all, young people, for the work that you are doing. And secondly and finally, when mom calls, when your favorite auntie calls, think of this conversation and me, Dr. Shirley Jackson. Thank you very much for having me.